So talk therapy gives the client the opportunity to express themselves in a way that perhaps they may not be able to express to others, whether it be family or close friends. You know, they need a neutral person to share their thoughts and feelings with. Someone that's neutral, someone that's unbiased. Talk therapy is good because so many people hold on to their emotions for 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Holding on to emotions, holding on to grievances, holding on to grudges, holding on to animosities. I mean, all this does is add further depressed feelings for you. I mean, who wants perpetual depression for a lifetime? And then, God forbid, if you happen to go to a clinical psychologist, or even further, possibly a clinical psychiatrist that will diagnose you as having chronic manic depression, or what we call mania, and depression, chronic sadness, because you have esteem feelings about yourself, low esteem or low self-esteem feelings about you. And so to raise that vibration, or to raise your level of consciousness to where you can be better, allowing yourself to share your feelings is a great thing, because it allows you to release your emotions into the atmosphere. You're releasing them. And this is what Holistic Life-Counsel is about. It's about releasing your emotions, the old baggage that we tend to hold on to for a lifetime. For a lifetime. So talk therapy for anything and everything. And I just want to back up just for a minute. With Holistic Life-Counsel, this means that, well, first, my credentials are is as a holistic psychology practitioner. And I've officially had that title since 2011. Kennetic-Fit and Wellness has been official since 2014. And as of recent, I solidified and legitimized my board certification by becoming a board certified member within the American Association of Drugless Practitioners, which is an organization for holistic practitioners, or for practitioners that practice in the world of holistics. And in my case, it's holistic psychology, which is a different avenue, versus what we see more frequently, and that's the world of clinical psychology or clinical psychiatry, which both psychiatry more than clinical psychology, but nonetheless, they are able to give clinical diagnoses of certain behavior patterns and give them clinical labels. So when a clinical label is administered or given to an individual, equivalent to that labeling are synthetic medications or synthetic drugs synthetic legal drugs that are readily administered to those that have been diagnosed with prolonged behavior patterns, or that have had prolonged behavior patterns or adverse behavior patterns, and they've been clinically diagnosed as having a disorder, whether it be bipolar 1, bipolar 2, social anxiety disorder, which translates into shyness, compulsiveness, all of these behavior conditions that have been labeled as negative behaviors, or behaviors that need a label so medications can be administered. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Talk therapy allows the person to heal themselves by way of releasing their emotions. Releasing their emotions. Not suppressing them with medication, because that's all medication does. Psych drugs, the Lexapro, the Cymbalta, the Seroquel. I mean, these are the the Adderalls, you name it. These are the medications that can cause more damage, not only to the brain, but to all of your vital organs as well. And so many people have fallen into the drug therapy trap, or the trap of drug therapy, or the trap of drugs being administered as a therapy, under the guise of therapy. Just like chemical therapy is a labeling to disguise as a treatment or a healing remedy for cancer. So just little things like this that our society here in America and other societies abroad, but I'll stick to here in America, because it appears that here in America we are literally the commercial drug capital, or one of. I think there's only one or two other countries that advertise pharmaceutical prescription drugs on television to the general public. And so this is why we have the highest rate of synthetic drug use here. Forget about the cocaine and the heroin and the crack and all these other illegal street drugs. More and more people are losing their lives daily due to prolonged use of psychotropic drugs. This is just the facts. And I know this to be true. I've interviewed clinical psychologists. I've interviewed the scholars. And they're brilliant, and they will tell you more people lose their lives from overdosing on prescription psych meds. No person should lose their lives because they are making an attempt to make themselves well. Because even the individual has come to the conclusion that they need assistance. And the commonality, the common denominator of assistance is the clinical psychologist or the clinical psychiatrist. Those are the common denominators of what we as a society seek out for help or assistance to be better. Well, there is an alternative option. And that's simple talk therapy, releasing your emotions. And because of my credentials, because I'm not in the world of standard psychology, Many people over the years have questioned the legitimacy of my practice. Not only my practice, but the credential itself. Because many, if not most people, have never heard of holistic psychology as a practice. Because most things holistic are never brought to the mainstream. Very few remedies that are rendered holistic are brought to the forefront. I mean, most of the time they're considered controversial. And anytime you hear of a remedy being controversial, usually those are the remedies that work best, or the remedies that are most effective without having the overbearing, quote, side effects, which, again, I've said this time and time again, there are no such thing as, quote, side effects. There are what's called initial effects. Every time you take a medication, you are going to have an effect. We live in a world or a dimension of cause and effect. The moment you pop that pill in your mouth, when it dissolves in your stomach and gets absorbed into your bloodstream, it is going to have an effect on you. Not maybe, not might be, it is. All synthetic drugs have an effect on the human body, just to varying degrees. And there's more than enough people here in this country that are taking at least 2 to 3 medications. At least. They have 1, 2, or 3 different symptoms, psychological symptoms. They've been diagnosed with, all these different things, ADD, ADHD, for adults and for children. More and more children are being diagnosed with, quote, disorders and being diagnosed the same type of psych meds for children. For children. Children are taking psych meds. Or children are being prescribed psych meds for their behavior patterns. So instead of visually showing the child maybe a new behavior pattern or a new behavior to live by, we just do the best we can to shut the child up by having them be administered daily medications in the school system, which is another issue, but nonetheless it does happen quite frequently, and sometimes without the parents' consent, which is another issue. But nonetheless, many drugs are being administered to so-called heal the human brain. I mean, no one has anxiety and depression and bipolar disorder because you have a Lexapro deficiency. I mean, think about it. No one has the common cold because they have a Theraflu deficiency or a common stomach flu. No one has a cold or a flu because they have a Tylenol deficiency or a NyQuil deficiency. I mean, so the first thing we need to do is get to the roots. That's what holistics is about, getting to the root cause. When you get to the root cause, just like any garden, you dig up the roots and you plant new seeds. This is what talk therapy does. This is what Holistic Life-Counsel does. This is what absolute brain and mind conditioning does, which is the second element in Holistic Life-Counsel. Absolute brain and mind conditioning. I mean, I've interviewed some great people over the years, and which is why I know that holistic therapies in virtually all cases are more effective, because we are holistic by nature. Every person on this planet, all 8 billion people on this planet, we are all holistic by nature. I mean, we're not, the human body does not function off of synthetic medications. No, the body's never functioned through synthetics. Unfortunately, there are more and more people that are functioning daily through their medications, and that's their norm. This is their norm. But there's another way for those that are tired of pill popping and feeling, I mean, some people have been taking their medications for 5-10 years and they're still not well. They're still complaining about the same adversities, the same challenges. I mean, so talk therapy, no matter what the situation is for you. Talk therapy. Let's talk. I can go even deeper into how that works with behaviors and how people tend to hurt people because they're hurting inside, whether it be physically or emotionally. Hurt people hurt people. We've heard that before. Hurt people. And so for those that want something different or change, then talk therapy is to be considered. For talk therapy or absolute brain and mind conditioning, for prolonged thought and emotional challenges due to your experiences of life through the many avenues of life, choose Kennetic-Fit and Wellness. Mental attitude first.